Good afternoon to all those in the YouTube world. My name is Dave Rollman of the Rollman Revolution audio podcast. What I'm going to do today is a small little ditty. I'm going to record episode number 8 and then display it on YouTube if I can get. I'll probably end up doing clips here and there throughout it because otherwise you're going to have an hour episode that you got to watch of just me standing in front of a microphone going blah, 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 blah. But you get to see the animations that I get behind the microphone when I do one of these little ditties. And you kind of see the passion that goes along beside it because, you know, talking into a microphone is one thing, and then you get that face that goes with the voice, and then sometimes people go, he doesn't look like the way he sounds. So what I'm trying to do is create at least an image for you so you know what's kind of going on here versus what's going on all in the technical side of everything that's, down on the placemat here of the desk. But a lot of good stuff. I usually have my laptop right in front of me here. I have my I/O dock, my Alessi's I/O dock, which I run my iPad through, and basically that runs all of my little sound bites and all that other stuff right into the system. And then I have, of course, my Rollman recorder, and then my my mixer, which I have a Mackie Pro FX 12. Which again, all of this kind of material, it depends upon what it is you're trying to do within the podcast thing. I also have another microphone up the other side, it's Electro Voice, and I didn't even remember what the thing. It's a very, very nice microphone. It's what they call a Phase D type style microphone, which basically, if you go off the mic like you do with the Heil, it can pick you up. I just like the Heil just simply because it's a smaller microphone. It sits right in front of my face, and I usually don't move too much beyond that. But you'll see small little animations during the whole programming, and you'll see what I do in the meantime while just recording the show. So this is the intro. I'll show you the snippets of it, and then I'll leave some details in the notes to follow. All right, let's go ahead and pause this right now, and then you'll see me bleep back in as the show begins. All right, and this is how we're going to begin this whole ordeal, I guess. You can do it. I'm going to hit the record button on the recorder. It's ready to go. Testing all of my sounds, making sure it's not peeking out. And then I just hit the record button again. Boom. The Rollman Revolution audio podcast, episode number 8.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the time has come.
The Rollman Revolution audio podcast is now loading.
Free your mind.
and be prepared. For your journey starts now. Welcome to Revolution Radio.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Rollman Revolution audio podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to changing the way you see the world and the way the world sees you. I am your host, David Rollman. And thank you for connecting with us again one more time. All right, welcome back again as always. The title for this episode is going to be called Sheep or Shepherds. How you are so easily controlled, my people. That is the topic of this week. But I'm going to start off with the talking points matter, which relates specifically to news and the media and how they can control you. And I got in a conversation with a group of people the other night, and there's only a handful of people that I know out there that basically are tuned or dialed into all of this matter, because the thing is that when people look at the television today, or they look at any kind of mainstream media, whether it be something that you read, watch, or you listen to, for the most part, and I always advocate, look, I don't want anybody to take my word for it. I don't want anybody to take anybody's word for it. I want people to go and listen to what's being said and then look it up themselves. Use the intelligent approach or the intelligence that you were given to try to make these decisions for yourself. Because the downside of this whole thing is that if you don't do that, that basically means that you have the capacity for intelligence, but just decide, hell, I'm not going to use that. And that's the sad situation that we're in here today. And if you look at it, if you look at the government for the way it is right now, we deserve every darn thing we get because we've allowed this nonsense and this ridiculousness to continue on every single day, being print, and nobody stands up to make a difference about it. We can talk about it all day long, but if anybody doesn't address it, doesn't try to tell people and inform them and educate them and inspire them to say, hey, look, there's another alternative out there, and you got to stop buying into all the baloney that keeps being thrown in your face 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on any channel, at any time, any place, any location. You turn on the radio, you turn on the television, you turn on any way to receive information, and I can guarantee you it's going to be barking in your face a particular way to try to enhance or to thrive or to try to stimulate a specific sense of being in an individual based on a type of narrative that is being placed on that station or on that broadcasting network or on that media outlet, wherever it may be. And that is the basis of what I want to start off with this week. The news and the media control. Okay? Now, most people may not be aware of this, but in this country today, there are 6 major media giants, 6 major ones, okay, that control 90%, my friends, 90 of the things that we watch, we read, or we listen to. Now, this show is not funded by anybody but my own self. I do not have any advertising backing. I don't have anything. That's why I always ask for people's support. That's why I have a support page for this type of content, specifically for that. Because those who want to give, and that is what crowdfunding has done, and that is what a lot of these other optional ways to try to get new media and new perspectives out there without having to pander towards advertising or big business in any way, which we have to be manipulated with all the time we watch the television. And I'm going to go into that in later part of this episode, specifically talking about the areas where this happens. A lot of times it's with the commercials. You'll see it with the commercials all the time. And I mentioned a few episodes back about why the NFL and why that in particular they generate so much volume and money with advertisements. And people talk about the commercials thereafter because we're in a consumeristic society. But that's beside the point. The message here is that 90% of what we read, watch, or listen to is run by 6, my friends, 6 major media outlets. So let's go over them real quick if you're not familiar with them. And I'm going to put links to these little ditties and these little graphics on my website as well. So go ahead and check them out. And I'm going to post the video that I'm speaking on right now on YouTube to show everybody basically how my operation kind of works within here and exactly how animated I get behind the microphone, because this stuff is real to me. It always has been real to me. And the problem with it was trying to find a way to communicate this people to as many as I possibly can. And that's what I've asked for the support from anybody, is that even if you feel it and you're not sure what to do with it, share the information at least. Open the dang dialogue. The problem with it is that most people, they listen to it and then they don't do nothing with it. And if you don't share the message, that's like people who go to church and then don't do anything with the information that they get in church every week and then just go back to their regular routine. Go on a retreat one weekend and have the retreat mentality, they call it, and then don't do anything with that stuff. Then why the heck do you even go on the retreat to begin with? I always ask people, why do you do what you do? And if you don't have an answer to that, then that's pretty upsetting. At least for me, it's upsetting. Because, the whole purpose of doing anything is because you either enjoy it, you have a passion for it, it's a dream of yours, or in some cases, it is something you have to do. But at the same token, you don't have to watch a particular television show and spread propaganda, especially if you don't know 100% to be true. And I'm going to say that most Americans, because I can't speak for outside the world because I don't watch how the media and run the statistics on all of the other media outlets outside the United States, but I'll tell you what, majority of the people that sit down and watch the evening news don't have any firsthand knowledge for sure. They're taking everything at face value. And then they're talking about it in the workplace or anything. So you guys spread the propaganda, whether it is true or not. In some cases, there may be some truth to it. But I'm going to tell you that if you break down media and you break down the original stories as they're presented to you, you start to find loopholes and you start to find mess-ups in the original storyline. I mean, I can go on 9/11 and I can go on a whole bunch of different other things that everybody at the time was like rallying around it. But once the information started coming out as to what happened and how it happened and why it happened, there are more holes in that dang thing than a polka dot dress. I mean, you could not figure it out. And the more that they tried to cover up the other crap, the more it started to realize that this was just an absolute drama being played out in front of our eyes. And you know what? I've said it before and I say it again. Drama is a lot of what life is all about. And if you know how to play the game, wag the dog, manipulate people, then guess what? You can control the drama or the undertaking that happens every single night when we turn on our tubes, on our television sets, or idiot boxes, as I like to call them, in our homes. So the point is that the top 6 that we got going on here is General Electric. General Electric, they're notable people. They own Comcast, NBC, Universal Pictures, and Focus Features. Now, some of these businesses may have changed slightly over the last few years, because I think I'm getting this information from a 2013, I think it is, poll. The second is News Corp. Now, anybody knows who News Corp is, run by Rupert Murdoch, okay, and that is the Fox News or the Fox affiliates, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post. Those are your top ones. It really just bugs me, because the problem with this, I can turn on the television many nights, and I can pick the story back up, and I don't even have to know the whole story, and I pretty much can tell you the narrative that's going to be told before it's even told. The same quote-unquote experts get on. When was the last time CNN brought a non-expert witness on to justify or to tell you about something that's going on in the world? Because you can't have just Joe Schmo on the ground who's living in it explain it. No, you have to have an analyst or an expert to judge the situation, even though they're not in the area 90% of the time. And half the time, these people are getting their information from sources supposedly in the area or for some other rate to create it, because you have so many people involved with the mix. Now, I'm not sure if anybody has either read my book or anything like that, but I put some information that happened here locally, the Fox 13 network, that happened in the Tampa Bay area. I believe it's titled WTVT, and if nobody has a chance to check that out, they need to look up the whole situation that occurred that never really made the air, and if it did make the air, I do believe it was extremely filtered, because the company Monsanto's, which that name may ring bells for a lot of people, they're involved in a lot of food-type GMO work, and they're involved in a large area of pesticides and insecticides and stuff like that. Well, these individuals, I guess, tried to pass through the FDA, which they did successfully do so. They passed through the FDA bovine growth hormone, RBGH. And the thing is that RBGH was found by a company in, I think it's called Health Canada, found not to be safe, that it was causing a lot of health implications, particularly cancer, which they had to pull out of the media address as to the reasons why they did that. And then the FDA had to go jumping through hoops to try to figure out exactly, well, we passed this stuff, and what are we going to do? We're going to backtrack all this stuff? And they did nothing. They did nothing to try to remedy the situation. And a lot of the cows, and many of the cows, and I would say a lot of the stuff that you still get in your dairy products today, may be infiltrated with this RBGH, which is the Monsanto's bovine growth hormone. Don't believe me? Look it up. Look it up. Two people, it was Jane Acree and Steve Wilson, I believe it was, the two reporters that tried to do this. And this was supposed to be Fox hired these two individuals on to do these things like a Crime Stoppers, to do an investigative reporting and all this other stuff. And then when they came back with all their facts, they realized that Monsanto's was one of their major contributors for advertisement. And because of all of the money that was invested and spent in the Fox News business, they had to cut the piece or filter it. They had to go through 83 or some ridiculous amounts of editing and redoing to try to change this word or change that word. We don't want to say cancer. Let's just say health conditions or something like that. And just manipulate this before it even got thrown out on the air. Now, the question I have for you is that if that's what our media is doing, is taking information, whether it be factual or not, and filtering it, so that it serves the need of a corporation, big business, or it tries to, soften the blow, so to speak, or give a euphemism for some ridiculous thing. Instead of saying it's going to cause fatness and diabetes, we're just going to say it could have potential health risks. Seek your doctor for advice and all that other stuff. And most people don't. Look at all the crap that's on the television today in the middle of the afternoon. If you're a person that has a day off in the middle of the day, just turn on the tube and then watch how many prescription drugs are being sold or suggested through media outlets during the Days of Our Lives and all of these other soap operas and whatnot. You hate your dog? Hey, take some of these pills. You're not feeling so good about yourself? Take some of these pills. You erectional dysfunction? Take some of these pills. You having problems? Take some of these pills. Just keep pilling everybody to death, and then they're wondering why people can't make rational decisions anymore. Their intellect is going out the window. The children are being born with more health complications than going to tell you this stuff. The media, first off, the people need to understand how media works and how politicians and how the political system works. Okay? You go back to 1940s, okay, just before World War II, and around that time, I mean, it really kind of started around World War I, but we're going to go a little bit further because I don't want to get into too much history about the Harriman brothers and the Dulles brothers and the Bush family, and I'm not going to get into all that because I'm just going to upset a lot of people. But the downside of it is that I'll get into these things in later episodes, but for right now, I want to stay on the idea of the media. The media in particular. The media runs on advertising. They run on advertising. The only way Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity can make $20 million a year doing what they're doing is you got to have advertising. You got to have supporters. You got to have people watching this stuff. Okay? Now, Fox News came in, I remember, and they were the fair and balanced. They were the opposite to the opposed liberal media. But whether the media is liberal or conservative or more of a, I don't know, they're supposed to be talking about the truth. They're not supposed to be talking about my opinions. An analytic show is one thing, but a show like NBC Nightly News, it's supposed to be facts. It's all supposed to be about facts, facts, facts. Now, people make mistakes every once in a while, but you have the opportunity to correct those mistakes, and most of the time that doesn't. We're pushing through an agenda. We're pushing through this propaganda. We're pushing through all of this stuff. And then if you look at if you just pay attention to the damn commercials that go on between each one of them, and then go look it up for yourself exactly who these people really work for, you're going to realize that these big businesses go all the way back to World War II. And then you wonder why Hitler got so powerful so quickly. I said that one of the greatest things in the world is that the one way to guarantee that you're going to win a game or know the game's outcome is to make sure that you're playing both sides of the ticket. You play both sides of the ticket, you can guarantee yourself you're going to win the game. When I play chess against myself, I can tell you which side's going to win because I know. Because I'm playing the both sides. If you don't know what's in the soup and you keep eating what's in that soup, go guess what? It ain't going to be great if you keep putting crap ingredients in there. And that's what we've been fed. We've been fed garbage for too long. And I'm sad because you know what? It matters to me because I see people's lives going down the crapper. They don't know why. Their health is going to hell in a handbasket, and they don't know why. But they keep getting fed more drugs, more drugs, more drugs. Eat more of this, take less of that, drink more of this. How many times? If I ask anybody a question, is milk good for you or not? Is conversation. I've had this topic brought up in one of my other podcast episodes as well. Once the communication stops and we start fighting, there's no winners in this situation. And if there are winners, they're the people that you never even see. There's some business guy all the way at the top who's guys are selling the bullets and the bombs and the boots. Those are the guys making the money. That's where there's always a conflict someplace. And if you think after ISIS is done and over with, that's not going to be the end of it. It'll probably end up moving on to the Malaysian countries or some other areas where we see a large Muslim presence in the world. And again, this has nothing to do with Muslims or Christians or any of this kind of stuff. It all has to do with the narrative that is being displayed every single day on the network. That is the question that a lot of people have to ask themselves. And I'm looking at the time here, making sure that I don't go over too far. We're sitting at 47 minutes now. But that's the thing. You've got this big, long agenda ahead of us. We have this big, long agenda ahead of us. And that is, we have to start talking to each other about what it is that we are not seeing. Because there's a difference between, your eyes have the ability for vision and sight. All right? Sight is what you are being portrayed, what's coming into those two eyes of yours every single day, and that is what you see. Or what people call that is the perception, the perceiving. Perceive. That's what you perceive. I perceive this. And then there's vision. Okay? Vision is the art of seeing the invisible. What is not being shown to you, what is not being seen, is the true art of vision. And I point that out only because people have a choice. We have a choice. We have a choice. We have a choice to make radical revolutionary change. But the only way it happens is it starts with every individual. It starts right here in the center of my heart and the center of yours. And until you start to wake up and realize that this is a bullcrap sandwich is being sent to you, you're going to fall into the sheeple mentality. Just get in line, people. Get into the sheepy mentality and don't rise up and be a shepherd, because if you do, we'll knock you down. Shepherds are the leaders. Leaders. Guys like Martin Luther King, great shepherd. Malcolm X, great shepherd. John F. Kennedy, great shepherd. Everybody has their faults. Nobody's saying any of these people were perfect. There's nobody perfect. But if you're trying to do something to make the world a better place, truly make the world a better place with no agenda, with no, with no ulterior motive, and it's not in the interest of big business or the interest of some political gain. Look, a conversation can happen, but once you start putting guns in people's faces, the conversation's over. Bull crap in a suit. And I'm sorry. The media is just helping that situation, selling the narrative. This is the story. This is the play. This is the way we want to construct it. Hollywood, it's a production. Washington, D.C. is the most beautiful, long-running production. It went longer than MASH. Those who got upset when MASH was taken off televisions, well, guess what? You've got the longest-running BS story of all time. It's running right there in the White House, inside Capitol Hill, every single day. And guess what? It's going global. It's going global. President George Herbert Walker Bush wants the New World Order, where everybody has the rule of law, controls the rule of the land. That's right. We can take this to the world. It's a worldwide effort show. Come on, people. It's time to stand up and become a shepherd, become a leader, share the information. Go and do the research yourself. Figure out what it is that you want. Figure out what you think is wrong with the world, and go investigate it. It doesn't have to specifically be in politics, because there's a ton of areas. There's a ton of areas. There's areas in secret space programs. Where is your Black Ops project money going? Where's the $2.73 trillion that you don't know about? Where does that go? Goes to somebody, goes to secret operations that the United States has. And nobody talks about that kind of stuff. Can't talk about it. It's secret. Well, the American taxpayers playing into this stuff. Everybody's broke. The country's, has a lot of poverty issues. There's a huge underclass in the country now. There's a housing problem. New York has got a great housing problem. That's right there. People know about it, but what is anybody doing about it? They feel not power. They don't feel like they have the power. They don't feel like they have the voice. Well, guess what? You got 370 million people in this United States. Okay, guess what? 370 million people took to the streets tomorrow and said, I'm done with this crap. You're going to have to shoot all those 370 million people, or what are you going to do? You're going to have to listen to people. People are going to have to try to make a stand with one another. Put the biases and all the bull crap that the media keeps feeding you out the window. Get rid of it. You don't need it anymore. Put the bag of bricks down. Stop living your life in fear. Stop living your life in the idea that you don't make a difference. You don't have a chance. Your voice doesn't matter, because you know what? That's what they want you to believe. You don't have an option. But you do. You got bigger option than most people ever realize. The power of the voice, the power of the mind, the power of influence and of change. But it starts with every single individual. Every single one. And that's what I want people to leave with today. Are you a sheep or are you a shepherd? What are you as an individual going to do about that? Well, that's it for this episode, guys. I always appreciate you tuning in. Please check out the website at www.rollmanrevolution.com. Or check out the iTunes. Subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher Radio. Go to the website. I give you the links right there. Check out the Facebook page. Check out the YouTube page. And again, I always need support. So anybody who's out there who's willing to support this effort, trying to get this information out, I would always be delighted to listen to you, hear from you, and see what you got to say. We're doing this one revolution at a time, one internal revolution at a time, everybody. And I appreciate all that you have done. Take care of yourself. Abundant blessings and peace, as always. Take care. We'll see you next time.
listening to Revolution Radio. Don't forget to check out other episodes at RomanRevolution.com.
And that's how it's done, my friends. That's one whole episode. It goes basically from the computer where I get my notes. I got my little notes down in here, my little pen, my Rollman little recorder right here. Or basically, I just hit the record button when it first starts up. And then, of course, I have my Alessi's IO dock, which I highly recommend. If anybody's got a podcast out there, if you got an iPad, the iPad or maybe even an Android device, I pretty much am sure that this is specifically designed for the iPad. But the Alessi's IO dock 2 is fantastic because what it does is it gives me the option of taking this iPad and using high quality audio rather than out of the 8.5 inch millimeter jack that they got in here. It converts it, and I got 2 really, really big ports on it. And I'll just maybe do a small little thing about my studio and whatnot for those who are looking to it. But that's the episode in a nutshell. Okay, I do the prep work. Yeah, some people say that takes a little while, but because I want to try to get my information straight and get all my stuff in line, it takes a little bit longer than usual. But guess what? It's important for me to provide great content, for people out there that just have no place to look or don't know where to go. So this is the whole setup basically here. I got my orange juice over there, got my mouse here, I got my computer monitors up over here, I got my main focus right here. But in a nutshell, this is one podcast, and it requires a lot of work, a lot of dedication, and it's a lot of know-how. Just learning how to do all of the instrumentation, was a learning curve for me. I'm 37 years old, and it's not easy trying to learn a new art at this age. But you know what? It all comes down to consistency. And if you are not bothered by consistency and education and retraining yourself and relearning yourself, well, guess what? You got a lot of things going on that's going to change the world. It doesn't matter what age you are, what race you are, what country you are. You have a voice, and the voice is going to make a big difference to everybody. So I'm just hoping that you guys check out other episodes. You saw how this one was done from beginning to end, and hopefully the audio came in there right. I may have to do some adjustments and audition and whatnot, but we'll see how we can get it going, and then hopefully we'll see you guys in another show. But this was episode 8. I'm going to be posting that up to Libsyn here shortly, so it will be available at the iTunes download. But you got to see the actual animation and what I do basically during the whole show from beginning to end. But anywho, thank you guys for checking us out. Again, don't forget to check out the website, www.rollmanrevolution.com. And check us out on Facebook as well, because this episode right here is going to be up on YouTube on the YouTube channel. So check me out there, friend me, send me a request. And again, I always use everybody's support. So it's just spreading the message, sharing it with your friends, talking about it, making it a relevant conversation in your daily life. Because talking about it is the first point, and then action follows shortly thereafter. It's just untraining the minds of the world that have been bought into all of the verbal diarrhea that we hear every day, and that's basically it. It just starts with us. So I'll see you guys next time. It was great for you checking in here on the at the studio here, and we'll see you shortly, okay? Thanks for checking in again. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.